Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by the Detroit Lions on the Prowl and Belly Up Sports Network. Today, we're going to talk about, is this regime different? Part 2. It was so nice we had to do it twice. Oh, big announcement. Next Wednesday, we have Jeremy the Stash Reisman, the head editor at Pride of Detroit, is going to come over to our show and spend an entire show with us next Wednesday. If you could put your questions below in the comment section, we will choose the best ones for the stash. And oh, wait, we got someone else here today. What's up, Curt?
Hey, what up, though? Welcome to the show, people. You know who we are. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. And as always, you can join the family. Subscribe to the channel. Please, we need you in our family. We don't have fans. We don't have viewers. We got family. And don't be afraid to join the family because it's all love right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Now, let's get this thing started
right now.
There you go.
Welcome back to the show, people. And today we got the coaching side of, is this regime the same old Lions, or is this something brand new we've never seen before? My main man, Curt, who do you got first?
All right, first up, we got Todd Walsh. Now, we already know who the coaches and the coordinators are, but let's get into some of the position coaches. Todd Walsh is our defensive line coach. He joins the Lions as a team defensive line coach in his 26th season in the NFL as a coach and 15th in the league. So Walsh has spent time in Jacksonville for the last 8 seasons. He's joining our staff as a defensive line coach and run game coordinator down there right now. In 2013, he was a defensive coordinator. He was a defensive coordinator in Jacksonville and held the other position from 2016 to 2020. Prior to joining Jacksonville, he spent the 2011 and 2012 seasons in Seattle as a defensive line coach and served as a defensive line coach prior to that and a defensive quality control coach in Tampa Bay. So he's been around the league for quite a while, having the role as a defensive coordinator and defensive line coach. All right, so he had an 11-year stint in college prior to joining the NFL when he was at Fort Lewis College. Wow, where is Fort Lewis College? That's a military base up there. All right, and he was at various roles from Nebraska, Kearney, North Dakota State, Missouri Southern State before transitioning into the NFL. Wow, he spent a lot of time in the B leagues in college. All right, so from North Dakota State, he earned his bachelor's degree in physical education and a master's degree in athletic administration. So Todd Walsh, a defensive line coach. You know, he's going to be in charge of some kneecap biters on that defensive line.
Yeah, this is the Kneecap Biters Club.
Yeah.
Vice President Chris Spielman and the head man there is Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
I have to say it once a show.
Yeah.
I think the network wants us to do that. So anyway, I have Antoine Randall. I actually remember watching him in college at Indiana. Holy cow. He's the wide receivers coach. Randall joins the Lions after spending 2 seasons, in 2019 and 2020, as an offensive assistant with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During his 10 years, the Buccaneers offense ranked first in passing yards and passing touchdowns, second in points, and third in total offense. Ooh, he most recently helped lead the Buccaneers to a 31-9 win over the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Randall L. reportedly will report directly to offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn.
Yeah. That Antoine Randall L. And it just became official yesterday, but that's a really good ad. A veteran guy, and you have, somebody who's played that position in the league, and he's won championships as a player and now as a coach.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent addition to the Lions coaching staff, which I think we have an outstanding staff. I really do.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of wide receiver coach, we have an assistant. His name is Seth Ryan. Ryan joins the Lions as a team assistant wide receivers coach and 2021 after spending the past 4 seasons with Anthony Lynn out there with the LA Chargers, serving as a coaching intern from 2017 to 2018 and an offensive quality control coach from 2019 to 2020. In his stint in LA, Ryan primarily worked with the team's wide receivers and helped guide wide receivers Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, which is an excellent receiver too, 1,000-yard seasons in that span. Allen made the Pro Bowl in all 4 years working with Ryan and produced a franchise record 104 receptions in 2019. Ryan was a wide receiver at Clemson from 2013 to 2016 and helped the Tigers win the 2016 college football playoff national championship, and that was out there with Deshaun Watson. So, he has a championship pedigree coming from college. His dad is a famous Ryan, as Rex Ryan. So, he got some lineage in the NFL. Buddy Ryan was his grandfather, and he's got his uncle over there, Rob Ryan. So the guy has some pedigree. So he will help coach the wide receivers and report to Randall L. and offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn. So you have another guy who has a championship pedigree, not in the pro level, but at the college level, and he's young enough that he really relates to some of the younger players on the Lions roster.
I think it was Luke G who wanted to get Rex Ryan as the coach.
At
least somebody in the organization. Yeah.
Well, we got a half, I guess, getting his son.
Well, no, we got his son, but hey, like you said, Rex Ryan and his lineage, even from his father. So the grandfather, the father, and now the son. I think we got something good and an up and comer coming to Detroit. I got Deuce Staley. He's an assistant head coach and running backs coach. Staley joins the Detroit Lions as a team's assistant head coach and running backs coach in 2021. This marks his 11th season in the NFL as a coach. It's been that long since he's been running the ball. Holy cow. Following a 10-year stint with the Philadelphia Eagles in various roles. And to add to that just a little bit, he was there for all that time and really wanted to move up in their organization. And he just kept getting kind of pushed down. So this is kind of a lateral move for him, but in another way, he also gets that assistant head coach position, which helps him to kind of grow in the NFL and his coaching aspirations. In the eight seasons overseeing Philadelphia's running backs, the Eagles produced the 7th most rushing yards, 15,765, and the 7th highest rush average at 4.4 in the NFL in that span. He helped the Eagles win the Super Bowl and capture 3 NFC least championships, division titles, and 4 playoff appearances during his tenure. Stacy enjoyed a 10-year playing career at running back with the Eagles, 1997. Jeez, that's a long time ago, but I remember it vividly. 2003, and with the Pittsburgh Steelers from 2004 to 2006, where he won a Super Bowl. A native of West Columbia, South Carolina, somewhere near you. Kind of.
Yeah, down the street from me, down the street.
He was selected by the Eagles in the 3rd round of the 1997 NFL Draft, 71st overall out of South Carolina. Now he will report to head coach Dan Campbell and work with OC Anthony Lynn.
Yeah.
I love me some Deuce, though. I'll tell you what. He wasn't getting an opportunity over there. It comes over to the Lions seeking that opportunity, and they're going to give it to him, I think. I really do.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys, kind of like Aaron Glenn, where these guys are kind of head coaches in waiting. These guys have that pedigree where they can move on from the Lions staff once they get established. I hope not right away, but they can be head coaches in the league. And the one thing about Randall L. and Deuce Staley, they both played on that Pittsburgh's winning Super Bowl team. In Detroit, Super Bowl XL, you know what I'm saying? So, and he, this is another guy, just kind of like, he has that championship pedigree where he's won a Super Bowl as a coach and he won a Super Bowl as a player. So that's the type of individuals that we're bringing onto the staff. You're bringing in good quality people, and who has won at at both levels, at the
Plus, he's helped
highest
the
levels
running
of
games
football.
in
Yeah.
10 years. He's really helped the running game along. And we
Yeah.
have a lot of people in positions that could help our running game. And we
Yeah.
definitely
And that's
need
what
that.
we need. Definitely. I mean, we haven't had that, and it sucks, for some people who won't be here to you know, see that come about. But hopefully we can get that 1,000-yard rusher in the young fella, DeAndre Swift. And,
I agree.
he's a dangerous weapon,
He
and
really is.
he has the opportunity to really, and we know the story. If you don't know the story, Deuce Staley used to watch Swift in high school because Swift is from Philly. So he used to go to, some of his games out there and check him out. So
Yes,
he
he did.
knows DeAndre Swift, not saying personally, but he knows his game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the next members we want to talk about of the Kneecap Biters Club is Mark Brunell. Now, this was a recent hire as well. Mark Brunell is going to be our quarterbacks coach. Following his playing career, Brunell served as a high school head coach for the Episcopal High School in Jacksonville, where he spent most of his career. Worked as a sports analyst at WJXT in Jacksonville and mentored several quarterbacks at the NFL Combine, which is pretty substantial because of the fact that he got to see a lot of the quarterbacks, the young guys in the league right now. They went through Mark Brunell at the Combine. He appeared in 193 career games, 151 starts, and totaled 32,000 passing yards and 184 passing touchdowns, along with 2,421 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. That was a really a mark that he kind of got missed on. Like Mark Brunell was a pretty good quarterback as far as being mobile. He will work with new Lions quarterback Jared Goff and report directly to Dan Campbell and OC Anthony Lynn. Now, here's my kind of thing with Mark Brunell. He said the other day the biggest thing that is going to really look at for him as being a coach is that he's been where a lot of these guys have been. He's been where Jared Goff's been in his career. So, he looks to share his experiences in that position as a quarterback, switching teams from a, guy who had some success to a team that, may not have been, what where he really wanted to be at. So, going from a better team to a lesser team, and he knows how to coach them up. So, hopefully, this works out. He has a wealth of knowledge playing the quarterback position. This guy, I mean, you look at that, look at his career. I mean, Mark Brunell is no slouch as far as being a quarterback is concerned.
Absolutely not. Also, something came out recently about what Brunell said about Jared Goff, saying that he or whomever quarterback starts for the Lions, which may indicate that the Lions may take a quarterback. I think there's a little too much read into that. I think it's just, hey, whoever's there, that's who I'm there to coach. But when you look at the fact that he has mentored QBs at the Combine before, it could be a telling thing. It's possible. So let's go to the next guy, Mark DeLeon, and he is going to be the inside linebackers coach. So he'll have the inside information. I'm just kidding. DeLeon enters his 10th season as an NFL coach and is first as the Lions inside linebackers coach in 2021. He spent the last two seasons, 2019, 2020, as the inside linebackers coach for the Chicago Bears. Yeah,
pretty good linebackers over there in Chicago. So.
Yeah. Roquan Smith is somebody that he really dealt with over there, and I thought did a good job with. Prior to his stint with the Bears, he spent 6 seasons at them Kansas City Chiefs, serving as a defensive quality coach, assistant linebackers coach, 2013, 2014, and assistant linebackers coach from 2015 to 2017, inside linebackers coach in 2018, and his first NFL position was a defensive assistant with them New York Jets in 2012. Prior to joining New York, He spent the 2011 season as a graduate assistant at Temple and
Mhm.
spent 2010 as a quality coach under Urban Meyer in
That's
Florida.
that's not something to brag about.
No, it is not. Mark will work with both defensive assistants and Brian Duker and Calvin Shepard, as
Mhm.
well as Dom Capers and Aaron Glenn. So he has a lot of bosses.
Yeah, he does. He has a lot of people. But I like the collective. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just not one guy, coaching the linebackers. We had that before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We had the just one linebackers coach. Now we have a collective guys. That who are going to be working with the inside guys and the outside guys. And the more specialized coaches. All right. The next guy, we have the Dom himself, Mr. Don Capers. He is a senior defensive assistant. Don Capers entered his 47th season as a coach. Boy, I'm 49. So he's been doing this since I've been on this earth.
He's as old as
Including,
Yoda.
yeah, including his 35th in the NFL. He joins the Lions staff, serving as the same position with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2019. And the division rival, who they are, the Minnesota Vikings, respectively. From 2009 to 2017, Caper served as a defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Slackers. All right, under Caper's guidance, during that span, the Packers ranked first in the NFL in interceptions, second in takeaways, fourth in sacks, and allowed the league's ninth fewest points per game at 21.5. While Caper's duties might seem a little vague as a senior defensive assistant, his presence is not. Now, here's the deal with this one. We talked about how the Lions are bringing in experience to help with some of the younger guys. He's a valuable resource to coach Dan Campbell and defensive coordinator Aaron Lynn, in particular, two key leaders of the Lions Renaissance regime that has taken over to rebuild the franchise in a new model. Caper has done that again and again and again since getting his first job in New Orleans back in 1986. Now, I remember Don Capers
high school then.
back in the day. He has been a part of new coaching regimes as a defensive coordinator for the Steelers in 92, which is 2 years after I graduated high school, and head coach of the two expansion franchises, the Panthers and the Houston Texans. Now, here's my deal with Capers. I remember him being down here in Carolina because this is where I live. I've lived here on and off since 95, and I remember him being the head coach of the expansion Panthers down here, and it was a big excitement. And they made the playoffs. They had a pretty good playoff run in their second year in existence. So, he did a pretty good job coaching down here in Carolina.
Yeah, this guy has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience from almost all decades of football.
Yeah, you kind of look at
he's something else.
I kind of look at him as the John Dorsey, but on the coaching side.
Yeah, I look at him as Yoda for the defense. Defense, you're saying. Whoa. Just kidding. Anyway, so I got Aubrey Pleasant, and he's a Flintstone, like my main man here.
Flintstone, baby.
His good position is going to be pass game coordinator and defensive backs coach. Was kind of weird, but okay. He playing offense and defense like in high school.
Yeah.
Pleasant joined the Lions after a 4-year stint as the Los Angeles Rams cornerback coach. Pleasant's first professional position as coach was an intern with the Browns in 2013 before joining Washington that year as an offensive assistant and transitioning to a defensive quality control coach from 2014 to 2016. Pleasant, 34 years old, youngin. Coach Pro Bowl cornerbacks Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, and Jalen Ramsey, and even helped elevate the play of Troy Hill and Darius Williams, among others. The Rams are ranked first in passing defense this season. And as we mentioned, he's a native of Flint, Michigan. Pleasant coached at Grand Blanc, Michigan High School in 2010 before working for the University of Michigan for 2011 to 2012. Go Blue.
Yeah, definitely. My thing with Aubrey Pleasant, and I have a friend of mine who's a diehard Rams guy, my man Joe Beasy. He appeared on the show
Sheriff
a little while ago, the Sheriff Joe Baggs. He said that this was the a big loss for the Rams coaching staff because of the fact that a lot of individuals thought he was going to move up into that defensive coordinator position um, once Brandon Staley got the job as the Chargers head coach. So he thought he was going to move up. When it didn't happen, a lot of people were like, okay, but he chose to come to Detroit, come back home, and be with Ray Agnew and Brad Holmes with some former members of his staff out there in LA. So he is a motivator. If you haven't seen videos of him coaching, go out on YouTube and just type in "I'll be pleasant," and you see some great highlights of how he motivates players out there in the secondary. It's great. He is going to be an excellent addition to our secondary, definitely. And we need it because our secondary was so bad last year.
Just so bad.
So bad. All right. Next up, we have Brian Duker. All right. Yeah, man. That's a really good name to say. All right. He's a defensive assistant. Duker joins the Lions as a defensive assistant in 2021 after spending the last 3 seasons with the Ravens. That's a pretty good team. He joined the team in 2018 as defensive staff assistant and coaching analyst before being promoted in 2019 to coaching analyst defense, which I have kind of no clue what that is, but okay. I think he helps analyze the defense for coaches. I guess that's what it is. Look at game tape and maybe breaks it down and gives it to the coaches. All right. Prior to the Ravens, Duker had stops with San Francisco 40 Whiners, as Jim likes to say, in 2016, 2017 as a defensive analyst, and with the Cleveland Browns, take the Browns to Super Bowl from 2015 2016 as a defensive intern. Duker's first coaching experience was with the University of Mizzou, where he served as a recruiting graduate assistant from 2013-2014, and as a defensive quality control coach from 2014 to 2015. He is a Maryland native. Hey, my wife's from Maryland. Duker earned his bachelor's degree at Towson University and his MBA from Bryant University as well. He will report to defensive coordinator, Mr. Aaron Glenn himself.
Wow. You know what? This is just another guy that they've pulled from a very good tradition over in Baltimore. Yeah. And it just helps enhance the staff and it helps, that checks and balances system again, from what I was saying earlier. We're going to give our synopsis at the end. So I'm going to go to the next guy, Calvin Shepard. He's going to be a defensive assistant as well, but he's a former linebacker, a former player, and he was a former linebacker with our Detroit Lions. Shepard joins the Lions as a defensive assistant in 2021, his first position as an NFL coach. So now we've got an up-and-comer. We just had a guy that's been in the league for a while. So now we got another up-and-comer. Shepard joins the Lions this upcoming season. Can't wait. I think it's going to be good. It's probably he will work with the outside linebackers since the inside linebacker's job is Mark DeLeon's, and he will report to defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. So look at, you've got everybody that's reporting to this one and that one, and he's going to get his help. And he has Brian Duker here, who's done the job before, and then he's going to get a lot of experience here as an up and comer.
Yeah, you look at that, he's going to be another one of those young guys that kind of, we want to bring in up and comers. So I like the fact that we're bringing in a former player and another former Lion, joining with Dan Campbell as another former Detroit Lion on the staff. And last but certainly not least, now this kind of get lost in the shuffle. We haven't talked about this position yet. Josh Schuler. Josh Schuler is going to be the new strength and conditioning coach. Now, Schuler enters his 5th season with the team, but his first as the head strength and conditioning coach. Joining Detroit in 2016, Schuler also served as the team's strength and power coordinator and assistant strength and conditioning coach from 2016 to 2018. Before coming to Detroit, he worked as a human performance coach at Exhills. So that's one of those organizations that do strength and fitness. So this guy, he's well versed in strength and conditioning, and he's getting his first shot at being the head strength and conditioning coach in Detroit.
That is amazing. And coming to the conclusion of all this, we did the front office yesterday. but it's almost a duplicate on the coaching staff side. This
Yeah.
is completely different in my opinion, because we would either or. So we would either go with the young up and coming guy that's never had a coaching position before, not so young, but I say Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn, never had any experience whatsoever doing those jobs, but was an up and comer and a rising star. But they had no backup. They had no one to help them. So you bring in Brad Holmes, who's an upcoming rising star, and you give him Mike Disner, you give him, all these people in the front office to help him. And then the same thing with Dan Campbell, first year coach, up and comer, but you give him people with experience that help him and stuff. It's such a good thing. You bring in just all kinds of people that can actually help him. I love it. I love the way that this is an up and comer person. You got Aaron Glenn on one side, you've got Anthony Lynn on the other side, but Anthony Lynn has been a head coach. So there's a lot of, I want to say checks and balances, but it's really not that. It's the support.
No, it's
the supportive experience with the up and comers, new ideas, new concepts, married with the old concepts, and the guidance on how you actually go day to day in this position.
Yeah, you have a mixture of youth and exuberance with experience and knowledge. So you're gonna have a good mixture of what we can be going forward. So and I think it is a really kind of a series of checks and balances where you can have a younger coach that can step out and say, hey, let's try this, and and it's like, okay, let's try this, but kind of like give a I've been here before. Maybe we can do it this way because this is the kind of success that we've had. I've seen this work, and you just kind of see where I've never seen the Lions construct a staff as far as coaching or an admin as what we've seen so far this offseason for the Lions. Sheila Ford, my hats off to her. She said she was going to do it differently, and she has, and so far, has definitely done it different than anybody else in that position from a forward standpoint has done in the existence since they own the team.
Yeah, this is completely different for me. It's not just one guy, or either the experienced guy or the guy that, the defensive minded guy or the offensive minded guy. Because a lot of people had said, well, the Lions are going to go for this because every time the Lions go with a player's coach, then they go with the standoff, the dictatorship type thing, then they go back to the other, but they went totally different this time.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where they kind of like, you got a player's coach, but then you have a player's coach. And actually, to me, I think he's a coach's coach because you have these guys are breaking their necks to come to Detroit. They gave up other positions to come to Detroit. They turned down other jobs and other teams to come to Detroit. And that says a lot about Dan Campbell.
I think Dan Campbell is also a disciplinarian coach as well. I think he's a player's coach that's going to expect a lot out of his players.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it's just player's coach. I think he's kind of a mix of both.
Because you heard him in his opening press conference. He's not going to accept not good enough or not. He's not going to accept players not giving the top effort. And he's not going to accept, a coach is not not coaching right, or that's something he's not going to accept. Of course, he's we call it a player's coach, but he wants a guy who expects the best out of his team, the best effort, and you can see that in some of the coordinators who've talked already, and what they've said the same thing, echoing. They want maximum effort from their players. So
totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Okay, now we're going to go into the Wall of Fame, and we've got Detroit Drew, we've got Nomis J on that wall. If you want to get your name on that wall, it's $1.99 for the first level, $4.99 for the second level, and $9.99 for the gold level. And that's all up to you. You get your own emojis and different things that you can put in the chat. And our premiere is 5 days a week at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So big shout out to Nomis J and Detroit Drew.
Yeah,
love those guys. All right.
Definitely. All right. It is time. It is time to get into some news and rumors. All right. First up, we have Detroit Lions offensive tackles should not be ignored this offseason. Now, we know we have the big fella over there, Taylor Decker, but anyone who watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers emphatically beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl just over a little week ago likely understood the importance of having a deep offensive line in the NFL. As the Detroit Lions loaded the offseason inches closer, excuse me, to free agency and the draft, they too would be wise to learn from the game's most valuable lesson. Throw in good but not great swing tackle Tyrell Crosby, who's he's in a contract year, and converted defensive end Matt Nelson. And the Lions need some more help in the offensive tackle, especially on their right side. Becomes a little clearer. It is also possible that Vitae makes a full switch to guard to his because he struggles at tackle. Yeah, I think some of his best years out in Philly was at guard, not tackle. His contract signals that he'll get a shot somewhere in the line in 2021. New offensive coordinator Anthony Lynn while generally positive in his praise of the Lions' offensive roster in a recent press conference with local media members, did remark that he could use a little more depth at tackle, which is understandable, especially on that right side. The draft is typically the best place to build a substantial, cost-effective depth at a premium position like offensive tackle, and this will be a great year to address it. The Lions seem thoughtful to select a tackle with their first-round pick, but don't discount them on doing so early on day two. Now, Jim and I have talked about this before. We said they definitely need an offensive tackle, especially on that right side, to come in and help solidify that right side of the offensive line.
Yeah, I think Big V had struggles because of the foot injury last year. I don't think he's as bad as what he showed last year. So I think he's going to get a really good shot at guard. And somebody that's been lost in the mix that I want to talk about real quick is Logan Stenberg. That guy is a Dan Campbell dream.
Yeah.
Mr. Nasty is a Dan Campbell dream come true. And I think he's going to get a shot. Yeah. I think he's going to get a shot this year at that left guard position. I think you move
Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson. Wow. There's sometimes names just escape me. That's just one of my things. Jonah Jackson, you move him to the right guard. You take Logan Stenberg. He's played left guard his whole career. Put him in at left guard. Kick Vitae out to the tackle. Or, unfortunately, I don't care if you spend a lot of money on the guy. Draft a right tackle in this draft and start him. And I think we're going to start building the offensive line of the future right now.
Yeah. You want to run the ball, you definitely have to have a solid offensive line to do so. You just can't do it on a whim. Just because you have a talented running back, if you don't have the line to block for him, you're not going to be able to run the ball effectively.
And I think Stenberg's the guy that he's very good in run blocking. He's not as good of a pass blocker because his footwork isn't good, his bend isn't good. But they've had a year to work with him on that, so I'm hoping that they have been able to stretch him out a bit and get him into some sort of conditioning program that would help him to get that bend that he needs.
You got an excellent, and we'll talk about this later on. But he got a really good coach in the Lions in the offensive line, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit later.
Mel Kiper Jr. breaks down the Lions' options at the 7th overall pick. Kiper sees a lot of value in a wide receiver position around the 7th round pick in the draft, whether it be Alabama's Jalen Waddle or LSU's Jamar Chase. But Kiper suggests the Lions could explore trade options, with Rothstein said would make the most sense for Detroit. You know what, guys? Of course it would make the most sense for Detroit, but you have to try to think about the other teams and if it makes sense for them. Some people just don't see that. I don't know why.
And with the COVID year, another COVID year, with the draft, where you're not going to have a combine, where you're just not going to see a lot of players up front and personal, up close, and it's just going to hard to be talent evaluators. Because of the COVID rules of going to pro days and things of that nature.
And so that's why Brad Holmes is so important.
This is going to be hard.
He's already had his draft done. If
I have a question for you.
Oops, go ahead.
Who the hell is Mel Kiper Jr.?
He does get it wrong a lot.
My favorite line for ever draft coverage I've ever heard.
He also says that if a tempting quarterback is still on the board, like Ohio State's Justin Fields, no, he won't be. And North Dakota State's Trey Lance, he could be. Detroit's phone could be ringing off the hook, and that could lead to a load of draft picks, but a solid defensive player later in the draft. There's so many flaws with this statement. But anyway, the one thing I see is if Trey Lance is there, I think we take him. I think that I would take him. I like Trey Lance, and I think he could sit under Goff for a couple of years and then, be our starter. If Goff fails, if Goff's successful and Lance is successful, it's a huge trade. I don't see how you lose on this.
How Mahomes did out there in Kansas City.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at 10 players who are most likely to receive the franchise tag in 2021. All right. Kenny Golladay makes the top 10 list of players most likely to get the franchise tag this offseason. Kenny Golladay made strides throughout his first 3 campaigns, but experienced a rough stretch with hamstring and hip injuries in the past season where he missed 11 games. Man, that was tough. Tough seeing him on the bench right there.
It really is.
All right. This offseason, the Lions have hired general manager Brad Holmes and head coach Dan Campbell to take over for Quinn Trisha, respectively. Those guys, those knuckleheads. All right. They have a new vision for the roster. They just make my coffee bitter. Which puts Golladay in a certain position. Nonetheless, Golladay had a 2019 Pro Bowl season and recorded a league-leading 11 receptions and for touchdowns that year. And if they have any hope next year, they will bring him back to be a prime target for Jared Goff. We talked about this before. I just don't see how you don't give Goff any weapons. You just bring him in and say, okay, here you have
we'll set you up to fail.
Yeah, you got Geronimo Allison and you have Quintez Cephas, and that's about it. You have to give him a weapon to at least be competitive. All right, some other players that made the list as well are Allen Robinson, Hassan Riddick, good linebacker, Matt Miliano, and there's a rumor that he might be headed to Detroit. Taylor Moton, Carl Lawson, Dak Prescott, Justin Simmons, and Leonard Williams. So those are some guys who may be some big candidates for franchise tags. What you got next, Jim?
Well, the Detroit coaching staff has 8 former players on it, and it is huge. Number 1 on the list is the kneecap biter himself, Dan Campbell. And we got Deuce Staley, Anthony Lynn, Aaron Glenn, Mark Brunell, Hank Fraley, don't forget about him, Antoine Randall L., and Calvin Shepard, who've all played football. 2 played football for the Detroit Lions, and Dan Campbell and Calvin Shepard.
Wow. I mean, you just look at that, look at that experience of, being able to relate to players in the league. And I think that for me, and for some players, that's usually gives you a little bit more cachet in the respect area, because some players look at guys who actually play the position at the highest level with a little bit more respect than some guys who have not been in that position. Not saying it makes a difference, because sometimes it doesn't. You can be an ex-player and be a crappy coach, but sometimes, players look at that and say, hey, he has experience. He's been where I've been. He's been in my shoes, and he understands where I'm coming from.
Yeah, true. Exactly. And former Lions are scattered throughout the whole organization now. And I like that idea, because they kind of know the city, they know the area, and they know the fan base, and they know that we've been suffering for years. So I think that's another thing that I felt like was absolutely necessary for a rebuild, and to put a Lions twist on it, to not go with the New Orleans way or the, the Patriot way or any other way but our way. And I can see that happening here. That's why I'm really excited about this whole thing. All right, now let's go to the section of the show that are your comments and what you are out there saying. My first one today is by Zach J. Is this really Detroit Lions? Is this really a Detroit Lions on the Prowl video if Curt doesn't say "What up, Doe"? No, it isn't. Used to be when we did Lions on the Prowl before Curt got here. Used to be this is Jim, and then Tim would say this is Tim. So that would be our thing. But no, "What up, Doe" is our thing now. It's Curt's thing now.
Hey, I just bring it. That's what we do. All right. Next up, Izzy Hey, Izzy is a friend of the show. Izzy777 says, if this staff and front office cannot turn this team to the right direction, then no one can.
Absolutely.
Wow, that, you know what though, that is a big, big statement, and hopefully I hope 100% that you're right, Izzy. I hope they can turn this thing around in the right direction.
Me too. Me too. 32 Plinkster Santa. I've been following this team closely since 1980, and I've never seen what's been going on over this last 6 weeks or so. So I agree with you, man. I think that I've never seen this either, and I've been watching them since the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen nothing like this since the early 80s. Yeah, the late 70s, early 80s, you know, they're talking about Billy Sims era. That's when I really got into the Lions, and it was I've never seen a regime that looks like this. All right, King SJ says, I haven't watched Lions football as long as you guys, but I don't remember them ever putting a front office like this together either. I only remember Willie Ford Sr. Willie. He's gonna call the dude Willie. I'm talking about pulling names out of the air and hoping for the best as long as everyone knows their role. I'm hoping that they have a shot at making this work. I hope so as well. But you know, shout out to King SJ for calling the dude Willie.
That is funny.
That's hilarious.
You like that. Okay, Breedy Athletics Kazoo Ninja says, I'm not sold because I haven't seen the product yet, but I like the recipe so far. Wow, I love that statement. I love how he put that.
I like that comment. I like that comment a lot.
I do too.
Because liking the recipe, you know,
So
hey,
far.
you know,
but we haven't seen anything.
It could be some
wins and
tasty
losses. We
morsels.
haven't seen nothing. But I like the recipe. I love that.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, friend of the show, the Midwest Lion says, I'm cautiously optimistic is the best I can say right now. Love the energy and the passion these coaches and front office executives are bringing, but it still has to translate to win soon. I don't think it's going to be right away, but it's going to be in the next couple of years where you're going to see a really change in a winning culture in Detroit.
I agree with that. It's going to take some time, guys, and please be patient. I know we weren't real patient with the Patricia, but he was a clown, so that's okay.
Yeah, but it was the way that he came in, and it's the way the things that he said. He didn't make himself easy to root for, and people lost patience for him just because of the way he came in as well.
One more thing about Midwest Lion, he has his own YouTube channel. So if you would like to go over there and subscribe to him, that would be really cool too. We have the question of the day today, and the question of the day is similar to yesterday. We have a part 2 of the regime. Is this different? Do you feel like this is the same old Lions now that you've heard the second part? What are your feelings on the coaching part of it? Do you feel that this is very similar to the front office and it's nothing you've ever seen before? Are you having like the wait and see approach, or are you like, oh, I'm full 100%, this is so much different? Or are you like, same old Lions, so I see something different? Just let us know in the comments what you feel about this new regime. What are your feelings going forward on what the changes are going forward and how they might affect our future in Detroit with the Lions? And now we're come up to my favorite part of the show, the dessert with Curt.
All right, here's some tasty morsels for 2 coaches that did not join the team. They were already here, and I think they're really big additions by staying put. And that's one, Hank Fraley, offensive line coach, and Ben Johnson. Those were probably the 2 of the biggest positions that aren't of need right now in Detroit because of these 2 guys. Offensive line, Hank Fraley, that guy is a really good coach. Look at what he did last year. We really were the makeshift right side of the offensive line last year. And if he can get those guys healthy on the right side and get some good quality players on the right side, he can build a really good offensive line. And Ben Johnson, just look at the transformation of one TJ Hawkinson last season, and he was underutilized by the other regime. So I think Dan Campbell being a tight end himself, hopefully we can look at making sure that TJ Hawkinson is on that Travis Kelce type of projection for the next couple of years.
I do too. That's a very good take too, that those guys stayed, because Fraley was getting an interview with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, to say, no, I'm staying here. That says that speaks volumes about this new regime, the new head coach, the new, GM, all the whole organization, including Sheila.
Because they wanted to stay and be part of the rebuild and the retool or whatever you want to say it. They wanted to stay put and be part of it because I know they had offers other places.
Yes, they did. And I think it speaks volumes about this new regime that people want to come to Detroit. We're not used to that, to be quite honest.
We're not at all.
We don't do that here. All right, everybody. We really appreciate you rocking with us, like I say all the time. But if you could please hit the subscribe button. If you're not part of the family yet, hit that subscribe button. Become part of the family. If you want to become even more involved and you love the show, but you just don't know how to really support it, you can become a member for $1.99. Just $1.99 a month makes you a member. There's a $4.99 level and a $9.99 level. If you are on the go and you have to be in your car, or you're in the gym, well, not most people, but if you go out for a walk, well, that's not most people either because it's freezing cold. But anyway, when you start doing that stuff, you can take us on the go with the show on the go on your favorite platforms. We're on Spotify and we're on the Belly Up Sports Network website. So if you want to go there and check us out as well, you can do that as well. All right, Curt, I'm going to throw it to you to end the show.
Hey, you know how we are, people. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. And like Jim said, join the family, subscribe to the channel. Hey, like the video, share the video, comment on the videos. All of that helps us get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. And if you're taking a show on the go, listen to on one of the podcast platforms, click the link down below and get you some Skull Candy headphones. And a portion of the sales from that link go to help us grow this content on this channel. Hey, we love you out there, our Detroit Lions on the Prowl family. And as you go about your day, you know what you got to do. Whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. Hey, and check out Die Hard Den podcast. We, my man, Shawnee J, will be dropping tomorrow. And next week, don't forget Wednesday, drop your questions in the comments for one Jeremy the Stash Reisman for next week. Hey, for my man Jim, right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl, this is Curt Steele, and we will holler at you real soon.